I'm Maxwell Doolin, and my hat looks a little bit funky. That's okay. Hi, I'm Max Doolin. I'm the founder of the Spokane Cyber Cup. This is the Lottery Challenge. Now, this is actually a challenge that we did in the third year of the event that my wife wrote, Vanessa. And while testing it, we actually found another issue, which was really funny. So, this challenge is actually an unintended solution from the third year that nobody found. So we can see here that we have a website, but of course, we're going to look at the prompt first. Do you think you can win the lottery? If you guess the right number, then you'll get the flag. Um, and I think I have a little bit better of a hint with this right here. Um, Hint, review the logic for validating guessing a number within the source code. Hint, you'll need to be creative, read the code, and understand what Redis is in order to solve this one. So we'll just start by playing around with the application a little bit. I'll set the name to be Maxwell because that's my name. And we can see here that there's a list of previously done lottery numbers. Now I can do 2. I can click submit and I can guess. And dang it, that's a wrong guess. That sucks. Okay, what if I do 3 and wrong guess? Damn, I'm not very good at this. Well, considering it's a lottery, that kind of makes sense. So, what if there's a different way to hack this? And it turns out there is. So what it's alluding to in the actual challenge itself is understanding how this code works and understand in particular how Redis is being used. So um, this function fetch data from API is actually a job for like a cron job setup that runs every minute. And what it's doing is it's getting the old lottery number, it's pushing it to the history, and after that, it's generating a new one. And this lottery number is actually set in the lottery variable. Now, the lottery variable is being set by this random number. And this, even though like random really shouldn't be used for randomization, this number is big enough to where it's not really feasible to do. And I don't know if we can actually break this from a Python perspective in a crypto challenge. But that's maybe that's a different way to solve it, but it's not how I would do it. So here we're setting the lottery key of the Redis caching service to be number. For those who aren't familiar with Redis, Redis is an application layer caching service. So you can specify a key and a value, and it will store that for you. And in this case, we're setting the lottery key to be this random number. Now, with these other APIs, we have the guess endpoint and the validate endpoint. With the guess endpoint, we're taking the name of the user and we're setting it to a specific number. For the validate, we're taking a name and we're checking to see if the lottery number is the same as the guess number. Now, it's taking the name, getting that from the Redis database or the Redis caching service, and then checking that number for us. So now we know how Redis is being used. It's being used for the lottery number. It's being used for storing the guesses of other users. And now we have the fun part. How do we break the system? Well, it turns out there's no input validation on the keys that are being created. We have the ability to create arbitrary keys and set them to arbitrary integer values within the system we have. So, given a guess, we can use the name lottery and set it to be an arbitrary number. That's one way to solve this. So if we do that, we can set the guess to a value we control, and then we now know the lottery numbers. That's pretty cool. The other way to solve this is to just call validate with the lottery user. If we call validate and lottery user, then it's going to it's going to get the lottery value and compare it against the lottery value. So it's taking guessed of name. If we set this to lottery, then now this will be the lottery integer. And we're getting right here, converting that to an integer. So we have two ways to corrupt or to use the lottery number. We can either set it directly or we can compare it against itself, which is of course will always be true. Now if we go back to the browser, we can see that we have the username Maxwell. But what if we just use the username lottery? I can just do check your guess and it will output the flag because it's going to do lottery compared to lottery. That's pretty cool. Another way we can do this is we can set this to like 4 and we can submit it. And we can also check our guess and it's going to do 4 equals 4. And eventually, once we've hit the minute mark, it will actually refresh and show us the old lottery number, which should appear here. While we wait for that, I can do a quick recap on the challenge. So we have a random number in the lottery that we don't know. However, this is using a Redis cache without input validation. The lottery number is being stored in the Redis cache key called lottery. And using the guess API, we can set this number ourselves and then guess it. Or we can just call validate with the lottery and we're good that way. If you're trying to help a student with this challenge, it's kind of a weird one. I think just talking through the logic of this code, it would be really helpful for them. You got to be kind of creative to find this, but I think it's a fun challenge. It's not a cookie cutter SQL injection or something else. You really need to understand how this application works in order to find this issue. Here we go. We can see that we have the 4 there. Well, this is the challenge. I'll let you know if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone.